Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I think I've got to admit, recently, I've been going through pretty much in June. It's probably been maybe about this month I've ever had, really, because I've been going through something. I'm not sure if it's a midlife crisis or an existential crisis or both. Part of me's been thinking, like, because a background story, as a side note, I know this is a bit off topic for this video, but a lot of my work was like ripped up or shredded or whatever, and some given to charity. Now I've got to admit, I do have a lot of it, so with my hoarding, but I do like to keep things, and obviously that's why I'm a hoarder. I like to keep holding things and things like that. So part of me thinks, like, what's the point of doing things if they just get destroyed? So it's been difficult really to get out of that rut and get out of bed and things like that. And also June, I really wanted to be a month. Symbolically, I'm going on the biblical significance, like the 6th month. Obviously, six to me is like a symbol of work and all that kind of thing. So I was hoping it'd be a month where I would work on my ideas and my projects and go to a gym and do lots of different things. And I haven't been going to a gym or keeping fit or doing stuff. So it has been really difficult this month. So I'm hoping in July to be more to have more faith, and hopefully something will come along. But yeah, it has been, as I say, quite a difficult month. I just thought I'd include that as a side note. But yeah, I was thinking, I even literally thought, like, what's the point of anything? Like, what's the point if it's just going to go to waste or it's not going to be made use of? And I think I've been through that a little bit before, but not quite to this extent in this way. Again, I think I've been having a midlife and existential crisis for probably a lot longer than I've ever had before. But anyway, I suppose you might as well just do your best and hope something comes along. But anyway, I thought I'd include that as a bit of a negative intro, but albeit negative, but yeah, get it out of the way. But yeah, anyway, maybe this video will make me think there is some point to anything. So apologies if the intro was a bit long, but I thought I'd cover that note. And yesterday, as it was the 29th, and my birthday's on the 29th of August, so exactly 2 months. Yesterday was exactly 2 months till my 40th. Unfortunately, I thought that I would and it was a Wednesday as well, so I thought I'd talk about some of my dreams and my paperwork, but I didn't quite get around to it, or I didn't have the energy and confidence to cover it in the way I want to. So hopefully every Wednesday I'll discuss, like, if I get the house to myself and I get the opportunity to upload videos, I'll do my best to talk about some of my dreams for my plan, for my writing and stuff like that, including books and things like that I hope to write. And hopefully I'll get around to covering that eventually, all being well. But I do have the dilemma that I also want to write as well. So it's about getting the time balance. I wish I could organise my time better and have more energy and wake up early and be more positive, and that sort of thing. Being more positive might help. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with this video. So please check out parts 1 and 2 if you haven't done so. And apologies once again if the intro is as often is a bit too longer than I would have liked to have included. I didn't realise it was going to be quite this long, the intro. But anyway, so on to the topic of Juventus. Some of my dreams as a fan of Italian football generally. I have a very strange thing, as I mentioned before. I am a fan of Italian football generally, whereas most people, quote unquote normal people, if you like, would not want to support would only want to support one Italian team or whatever, or maybe if they have a soft spot for another one. But I sort of support all the Latin or Mediterranean teams, just because I think I look Latin or Mediterranean, but especially Italian ones, and as well as Celtic. So anyway, here goes, number 21. On that note, I hope to remember as many ideas as I discussed in parts 1 and 2, and for people to find out about the history of Juventus and some of the facts of Juventus, and also, as I probably mentioned again before, as Juventus in English means youth, I think it would be great if Juventus had the best possible youth setup or youth systems, academies and things like that in the world. Number 22, I would also love for former players like Zidane and others to, Edgar Davids and people like that, to coach some of the youth, and also to have an ambassadorial role, and like basically to represent Juventus as a club around the world, and also like coach some of the younger players from the academies in Italy and across the world, in Turin itself and across the world, and that sort of thing, and like to try and teach their skills. And it is a bit difficult because, or it would be very difficult, I imagine, because some of their skills, like Zidane's, might be natural skills that perhaps he is born with, and also passing on those skills and being able to explain them, or if they just come naturally to him, it not be easy or even possible to share those skills. But you could always like try and in training, like show them different skills, or people can watch videos of Zidane and players like that, Ronaldinho and players like that as well. I know he didn't play for Juventus, but I mean players generally with skills, and like in training try to take on those skills. And if they make lots of mistakes, then hopefully they'll be encouraged to be able to make mistakes. I was wondering whether to keep that idea secret, because obviously it could be copied by others. So I was hoping maybe to go to Turin and discuss those ideas with the club. But anyway, I suppose I've discussed them now. But yeah, hopefully Juventus will practice those better than other teams, especially those outside of Italy. And talking about, I would love for them to have a connection with Celtic as well, as all Italian teams to have a connection with Celtic, or even like country, Mediterranean, Eurasian, transcontinental generally, and Mid-Eastern countries to have a network through football and things like that, and politics, so that they can train. And I hope for people from Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid-Eastern and Mediterranean nations to support Italian teams like Juventus more, and to have good relations with other Mediterranean nations like Spain, Portugal, France, and countries like that, even though a lot of time they are sort of competing together in football. But it would be great if they could train together. Obviously, I mean, Juventus does have quite a French connection with Zidane and Trezeguet, Platini, and players like that who have played for the club in the past. So it does have quite, as I say, quite a French connection as well. So, but as I say, I'd love for them to connect with those Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid-Eastern, and Mediterranean nations as well. And like support each other and practice playing football together and that sort of thing. So like have a connection through football, which could be extended to politics and things like that. Number 23, as I tried to mention, I can't remember if it was part 1 or part 2, I read that the Agnelli, Mr. Agnelli, Andrea Agnelli, I think it is, has a net worth of between, I think it's 13 to 19 billion dollars, if I'm not mistaken. But I've read a few conflicting reports on Google, but I was thinking basically Exor is the company who owns the main parent company or whatever of Juventus, has like hundreds of billions. As I tried to mention, I don't think I mentioned it very well, so I put in the comment section. I think I tried to explain it better, but I think it would be great if the club could legally, in spite of financial fair play rules and things like that, FFP for short, of course. I think it'd be interesting if they could spend like 1 to 2 billion on players, and or if they couldn't spend it on players because of FFP, maybe they could spend it on academies, which would develop for the future. So some of that money could go to academies, which hopefully they could find legal and ethical ways to. I'm not saying it should be done unethically, but legal and ethical ways to. And I think the club, again, something else I mentioned, should always operate legally and ethically and that sort of thing. But they could look at ways they could bypass the financial fair play. But basically, like things like investing in the youth academies or things like that, hopefully they'll find a way to get around it, or the charitable work, so they could have youth academies overseas as well in developing countries. But hopefully that'll benefit the club in the future as well. Hopefully those players will play for the club in the future. So I think I'd love to see the club be able to invest as much as possible, as well as doing charitable work and things like that. And as I mentioned in part 2, I think it was, or maybe in part 1, I would love for them to offer opportunities for young people to get into football, if they, as a reward, if they don't get involved in crime or things like that, and also to encourage better diets and fitness and things like that, and help people from developing countries and do fundraising, including for mental health awareness and things like that, and stuff like that. And it's a cause close to my heart as well as neurodiverse conditions like dyslexia and ADHD, another cause close to my heart, but also supporting poor and disabled and disadvantaged people generally. Number 24, again, I would love for them to have supporters clubs and academies in all possible countries, especially the countries I've just mentioned, but also parts of Africa, and maybe even for Indigenous Australasians and others. 25, I hope, as I say, that people like Zidane and people like that could be involved in the club in some way, and as well as coaching the youth, as I say, be an ambassador for the club. Number 26, I think it would be great if they gave back to some of the countries that are colonized, like having football academies in Eritrea, Tunisia, and Ethiopia and places like that, which Italy colonized in the past, which are part of the Roman Empire. And also, but it would be kind of a cheeky way, because the club could still benefit in the long run from those players if players from Ethiopia, Tunisia, and Eritrea could be developed into good players in the future, which would be a bit hard to see, but you never know. I suppose if they're trained, they might have those opportunities. Number 27, I hope they will list some of the top contributors to the club, whether those are financial contributors, people who coach the youth, which I think is really important, or people who helped the team win a trophy and things like that. Number 28, I would love to see Juventus win trophies, most importantly, in my opinion, as a fan of Italian football generally. Representing Italy, I would love to see them win like the Champions League, World Club Cup, and even Super Cup and all sorts of trophies in Europe and internationally, and be internationally recognised and do really as well as possible. Number 29, I would love for my fellow Anglo-Indians to support them. And number 30, again, I'd love to go to Turin and meet with members of the club to talk about my ideas, and hopefully they'll try them out and see how they test them and see if they might be better than I even thought they were. And again, I'd love for neurodiverse people with dyslexia and ADHD and conditions like that to show what we could do for the club. And even like dyslexic people who have a lot of money investing in the club or even donating to the club, and as well as local people or fans of the club, like donating to the club, for the club to have a special bank account and also GoFundMe and crowdfunding pages to generally to bring in money, and maybe even, I say, fans could perhaps donate to the club, and their reward would be, obviously they want something back, but their reward could be seeing the club be successful and maybe even have their name mentioned as part of that, so they know that they contribute to the club and things like that. So I'd like to think they're like quirky dyslexic ideas, and also to remember my train of thought. But yeah, I think it would also be cool if they worked with people in Africa and supported African tech game makers, and those African tech game makers could make games on video games, game systems, and things like that, and also online, like on websites, where like you get to play as Juventus in a football game, and like FIFA or whatever, or This Is Football or something like that, made in Africa, or there could be a new version where you get to play as Juventus and try and help Juventus win things like the Champions League, World Club Cups, and Super Cups. So as ever, I'd love to hear what you think about my ideas, and a way where I can also, given what I said in the intro, I'd love for you to discuss like a way I could do work which I think is meaningful, productive, and I think it actually has a value and a purpose and that sort of thing. And I am out. Peace and love.